This special edition of Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and Children's Nebraska. Here's Matt McMaster and Mike Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone radio network at the Omaha Baseball Village for day one of the College World Series. Matt McMaster, joined by Josh Otson to my left. Mike Schaefer will be here in just a little bit after doing a great job on his show, Happer and Schaefer, earlier this morning. This broadcast is powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. We also want to let you know Hour One is presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. J.O., how are you, my friend?
Doing great. Excited to be. It's like summer camp.
It really is.
You come back and you see friends you haven't seen in about 50 weeks, and everybody remembers everybody.
Well, this is kind of cool for me because this is my second time broadcasting with 1620 The Zone at the Omaha Baseball Village, and I already have seen people that I saw last year. So you're right, it is like summer camp. For our friend Chris Prudon here, who's been doing the College World Series for God knows how many years. 19 years Chris Prudon has done the College World Series. It really is like summer camp for you, and it's summer camp is certainly for Josh Otson, and it's summer camp for West Virginia. The Omaneers are out and about. They take on the Troy Trojans today at 1 o'clock. Should be a very entertaining matchup between two pretty different teams. Troy, 3 seed heading into this NCAA baseball tournament, a power home run hitting team. We'll see how that will vibe at Charles Schwab Field today. I believe Connor Happer is here. He will be on the call. Is the wind blowing in? Whoa. Whoa. The wind is blowing out. Okay. Oh. Well, there was some early forecasts that were indicating that the wind was going to be blowing in. It's going to be blowing out. So that actually plays to Troy, a massive power hitting team. West Virginia definitely more they're built for the course in terms of how big Schwab can get. Gap-to-gap hitting team. They've stolen over 100 baseballs.
Look at this guy.
Or 100 bases. 100 bases this year. So it really is a styles makes matchups games. We will preview it with Mike Schaefer later in the show. We have a loaded show for you today. A lot of great topics, varying from baseball, because it is the College World Series, but also we'll be talking some football today. We'll be talking some soccer today, the other football, because the World Cup is going on. Did you watch the CWS South Korea match yesterday, Josh Otson?
Just couldn't fit it into my schedule.
It was during Josh time.
It was.
First kick was at 9 p.m.
I actually did have it on for about 5 minutes. Said I have no interest in either of these countries.
Can I put my hand up and say I was wrong? I was wrong. Wow. I'm willing to be the bigger man here.
Mark it down, folks. That doesn't happen in sports radio.
I told people that I was not going to care about the World Cup. I told people I didn't give a damn. I was like, it's going on. The USA, everyone tells me you're supposed to be great. They never win anything. I was floored. I was enamored. I was glued to my television screen yesterday watching South Korea take on Czechia. Really? I've never heard of any of these guys' names. I've never seen any of these guys play soccer. I could not stop watching. Somebody asked me to go out yesterday. They're like, hey, you're right. No, my friends. They're at Lefties, right? Some of them saw Pat McAfee's crew all about. They go, Matt, come on out. And I go, I'm watching Czechia, South Korea. I'm currently eating sushi and rice. Whoa. I could not have a better time. The World Cup is making me a fan. Maybe it'll make other people
It's winning you over.
Paraguay plays the USA today.
Paraguay is who they were playing today. Okay.
Yes, Paraguay. They have a beautiful flag. Beautiful, beautiful flag. Okay. It's red,
big flag,
white, blue, and then a nice little golden emblem in the middle. It should be an interesting matchup tonight. We also, by the way, this weekend of sports is absolutely incredible.
It's a big one.
It is UFC 250 Freedom Fight. Is that what they're calling it?
Freedom 250, I believe, is the technical name.
This UFC 250. That's just what we're going to
they
call
already
it.
had that.
No, they already did. We talked about it yesterday. Do you remember who fought on UFC 250, Josh Otson? I told you the entire card. I told you the entire card. You don't even remember one of them, do you?
Foreign guy.
They're all foreign, Josh Otson. Try again. There really is a great mix of foreign fighters. Amanda Nunes did fight. She is foreign. She's from Brazil. Should be a great card. A lot of really good fights on that card. A lot of really good matches in the World Cup. We also, the Stanley Cup Finals, the Carolina Hurricanes. Team clap for the Hurricanes.
Nailed it.
Dominant victory yesterday, 4-1, jumped on Vegas pretty early on. They look fast. They look aggressive. Going to be interesting to see who wins the Conn Smythe Trophy. Jordan Stahl has scored 5 goals in as many games. He's been absolutely insane. But Mitch Marner leads the playoffs in all points. Vegas may not win the Stanley Cup, though. Will we have another instance where the Stanley Cup final Conn Smythe Trophy MVP goes to somebody who's on a losing team? We also have Game 5 of the NBA Finals tomorrow. Will the San Antonio Spurs be able to bounce back from that historic, truly historic collapse? I mean, it's. I still am thinking about that game. I'm still thinking about all of the things that happened in that game.
This league.
Do you understand how many different car crashes had to happen in order for that to occur? Which, by the way, Ben Stiller, have you heard about this? That he's
shooting a documentary from his iPhone from courtside.
Yuck.
Talk. Like, look, I like Ben Stiller, but
but
look, I should not be denying him his personal growth, but be Zoolander, be Tropic Thunder guy, be dodgeball guy. I don't need you. Hey, how can I get free courtside tickets for myself? Oh, if I'm making a movie the whole time, I can write the whole thing off. Like, shut up. Be your dad.
Can I be honest with you? I don't know if I've ever watched an emotional Ben Stiller performance in a movie. I'm sure they're out there, but I personally don't think I've watched that movie.
He's the guy behind Severance.
Okay.
So he thinks he's
evolving.
Big
that's
now.
what he said. Evolution. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's I'll tell you this: the greatest Ben Stiller movie of all time is Camp Hope.
Heavyweights?
Yes. Heavyweights. That's what it's called.
Great movie take.
I just call it Camp Hope. You know that Camp Hope movie? That movie, we watched it.
That was the name of the FEC?
At the AAA Bauer Selects 2014 hockey camp. Okay.
Whoa. What a moment in time.
There were 28 kids in that hockey camp. 27 of them went on to play college hockey. Do you know who the one wasn't?
Oh, no.
Matty Mack, baby.
Could have if you wanted to. You chose not to.
You know what? I'm not even going to lie to our audience that I was even that. I could be a fraud. I have so many opportunities to be a fraud throughout the show, and sometimes I take it, and sometimes I don't. This will be an instance I don't. No, I could not have played college hockey, but I watched that movie. It was probably the greatest thing that came out of hockey for me was watching Heavyweights, because Ben Stiller, Uncle Tony,
a young Kenan Thompson.
Yes, a very young Kenan Thompson, like the youngest we've ever seen Kenan Thompson, some might say.
The artist formerly known as Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks movies.
What's he doing?
Well,
didn't he get into a bunch of trouble last year?
Well, yeah, he was very addicted to drugs.
Okay.
Clean and sober now, by all accounts. Has really improved himself. What was the NBA player who we were all found?
Lamar Odom.
No, the one for the Cavs that was like homeless.
Delonte West.
Yes. Very similar.
He very famously may or may not have done things with one of his teammates' mothers.
That's right. Yes.
But we will fail to mention that. We don't know where. Well, is Mike Schaefer at a Walgreens right now? Do we know where he's at?
He might be a CVS guy. I'm not sure.
See, that might be a great lead-off question.
Chicago guy, you're a Walgreens
guy every day of the week.
If we had a Jewel Osco.
Oh, my God. The fact that you even know Jewel Osco.
I know Jewel Osco.
It warms my heart. But I will say this. It might be a great lead-off question to anybody. Just walk up to them.
Walgreens or CVS?
When Gary and I, when we were hosting in the morning, he mentioned that sometimes his go-to is he'd be like, are you an ignition button guy, or you a turnkey guy in your car?
Turnkey.
Like that is, he's like, that's a big character moment. Like, how do you answer that? I think Walgreens CVS tells you a lot about somebody. We will find out if Mike Schaefer went to a Walgreens or a CVS when he joins us later in the show. All right. So we have a bunch of great topics for you today. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit of Nebraska football recruiting, because we had some news that came in yesterday. So we'll talk about Tim Verghese. Timmy V wrote an incredible article on Inside Nebraska and Rivals. I read it yesterday. I read it twice. Okay. I read it twice. I had to go back and I had to reread it because of some of the information that he was giving. So we will talk about some Nebraska recruiting up next in the segment. We also have some very fun things we're going to do. We're going to do a root beer taste test at some point today.
I constructed
I'm going to be real with you. I'm not prepared for this. I don't know how well it's going to go, but I'm excited to see what the results are going to be. I think Mike Schaefer will probably wipe the floor with me. So we'll talk a little Nebraska recruiting coming up next year at the Omaha Baseball Village, a special edition of Middays with Matt. 1620 The Zone, hydration sponsor. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. This summer, pick up a Coca-Cola and drink in America's 250th. And come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's, official ice cream of 1620 Zone, celebrating 40 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and the Old Market, Omaha, here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster here at the Omaha Baseball Village, special edition of Middays with Matt, which is powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. We also want to remind you that Hour 1 is presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. Going to be a fun show today here at the OBV. Mike Schaefer is currently en route. I believe he went to a CVS is what the sources are saying. So we'll go ahead and confirm that with Mike Schaefer later on when he joins us. We have a menage a trois, if you will, of topics today. We'll talk pro sports. We'll talk college sports. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk soccer. We'll talk hockey. But first,
it's more than trois.
What would it be? What would it be if it's more than trois?
But how many did you name? I wasn't counting. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I don't mean to be super technical about this, but un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq.
Oh, I didn't know menage a trois was like the last word was like a 3.
Yeah.
When I say menage a trois, I just say 17 different things. When I say menage a trois, I just name.
Sure, it's an all.
I didn't know it was a specific 1, 2, trois.
Yeah.
So if I named 4 topics, un, deux, trois, quatre, six, sept, huit, neuf. I think neuf is 9.
Neuf.
Yeah. Un, deux, trois. It's from Hamilton. I was a Hamilton guy.
Okay,
that's how I know it. Yeah, I don't want, once again, exposing myself as a person who's not that well traveled. Anyway, let's talk some local sports here real quick. Nebraska football. Team clap for Nebraska football. Here's why we're giving a team clap to them. Hell of a month of recruiting in June, man. I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
and in an ever-changing world of college athletics and college football, it just seems like if anything has changed the most, just over and over and over and over again in this very crazy world of college sports, it's your recruiting window, right? I mean, we went from signing days mattering to signing days not really mattering to then you had 2 transfer portal cycles, then you had 1 transfer portal cycle. Now you're kind of in a time in the last couple of years it's been really building, and now it's really on where June is like the high school recruiting month, right? And kind of the big key for a lot of schools, and not just Nebraska, but across the country, is you got to get your key guys in the first visit weekend. You get them all, and then you hope they don't go elsewhere in the second or third visit weekend because then your chances decrease. We saw that happen in the transfer portal, right? People were joking when I was saying, don't let these kids leave. Don't let them leave the facility without giving you a commitment. But that's kind of what's happening now in high school recruiting. They've picked up a lot of commitments in the month of June. Blue chip prospects, 3-star prospects, areas of need, linebacker, defensive line. They're trending. Greg Smith put in a crystal ball for them to get a 4-star interior offensive lineman from Missouri earlier today. So more visits coming in this weekend, but some very interesting developments in terms of commits that have already happened. We already see Nebraska get 1 decommitment in this cycle with Caden Howard, the Miami Palmetto wide receiver. Was
never wanted him anyway.
Originally slated to be a Nebraska Cornhusker, but after the Huskers are trending in the right direction for 4-star wide receiver from Pennsylvania, Matthew Gregory, Caden Howard kind of started going elsewhere, committed to Georgia Tech, no longer with the Huskers. Torrey Pittman, the 4-star on some services, he's a 5-star safety from Millard North. He is visiting LSU this weekend. Okay.
Oh, hello.
This has been a commitment that Nebraska has been locked in on for quite a while. I mean, it was Trey who committed, and then Torrey has also been that other blue chip that Nebraska has had locked up in this 2027 cycle. I was lucky enough to see Torrey play a couple of times at Omaha Central last year. Incredible athlete, long, lanky, super fast. You know, I think there were times where he seemed a little out of it, you know, like he wasn't fully in the game. But then when he is in the game, he's an absolute game wrecker, which is why he has the rating he has and why he's so highly touted. LSU was a team that he was interested in the early process before he committed to Nebraska. Miami was the team that was really poking and prodding around that people were concerned about with the building. That if Torrey was going to go elsewhere for a while, it seemed like he would be a hurricane. Miami's now out. LSU now back in. Torrey Pittman going to visit in Baton Rouge this weekend. Tim Verghese wrote an incredible article this morning on Inside Nebraska. Or sorry, it was yesterday. Wrote an incredible article detailing that Nebraska likes Torrey. They value him as a recruit. They value him as a commitment.
I feel like there's a butt coming, Matt.
they don't want to be used as leverage in this case. And Tim wrote, and I quote, "It doesn't seem like LSU and Nebraska have an appetite to get into a bidding war." So we'll see. Tim does.
Didn't they just finish a bidding war?
Well, look, how many bidding wars can you get into? Especially if you're Nebraska. There's only so many bidding wars.
Yeah.
Texas Tech could get into all the bidding wars they want. Texas A&M could get into all the bidding wars they want.
They can get in all the 22-minute videos they want to.
Did you watch any of that?
I didn't watch 1 second of
Neither
those
did I.
rednecks babble.
Neither did I.
No.
TCU had the
Get the
quote
hell
of,
off my
did you see
timeline.
TCU's quote of the year?
I love that.
Oh my God.
It
You know what?
It was the meme we were all sending each other, and then they just posted it on their.
We'll probably end up making like a 6-part documentary series about this time in college sports, right? You know, ESPN will do a great job. Maybe they bring in Bill Simmons to produce it. I want a documentary on the rise of social media managers and just how important social media administrators have become in college sports.
That's a good angle to
take.
take. Yeah.
I mean, they're so entertaining. And some of these, I mean, the Detroit Lions specifically would just absolutely troll NFL teams on their social media. TCU did a great troll job yesterday at Texas Tech. So anyway, though, Tim Verghese goes ahead and says, all that to say, Nebraska is pleased with the defensive back haul that has been put together around Pittman, and while they hope he stays put, they are well prepared for the possibility of the in-state blue-chip defensive back flipping away and will move on accordingly. Before he wrote that final paragraph about Pittman, the sentence before said, as things stand, Pittman is still planning to get back to Nebraska June 19th through the 21st, and sources close to him say his heart is still set on enrolling at Nebraska. So all you need to know, Torrey Pittman going to Baton Rouge. Okay, I guess we were off the air for a second.
Internet dropped. Oh, it was
and
just
now we're back
genius. You missed the genius takes. We couldn't recreate it if we tried.
Joey is in our microphone. Where did you lose me?
I cannot tell you.
Okay.
I cannot tell you.
All right, fair enough.
Wow,
You're
he
okay,
wasn't
Joey.
listening.
Anyway, we'll just pick up here. Nebraska's gaining a reputation with agents and parents that they are a football program that is doing things right. Pat Stewart, highly heralded, according to multiple sources, for dealing with agents and parents in the right way. And Nebraska's gaining a rep as a place that parents and agents want their sons and their clients to go and play football for. I think that there are some people who are very big into college football who might roll their eyes at that and be like, was Alabama doing things right all those years before the NIL era? Right. Was USC and Pete Carroll, were they really doing things right? What doing things right hasn't panned out all the time for, college football programs in the past. But here's the thing. We're in a different era of college football. We're in an era of college football where we have rules. We're eventually going to get regulations. We're a lot like pro sports. The pro sports teams that, quote unquote, handle relationships correctly and do things right are the ones that end up being successful. So I think it's an encouraging thing that Nebraska is being painted in that light when it comes to agents and parents. But here is a very interesting quote from Tim. And maybe we'll talk about this with Mike Schaefer when he joins us. Tim writes this. I will note, while the vast majority of sources I talk to on the agent-player side of things speak positively, there are certainly those that don't hold the same feelings. One area sources have stressed frustration in how Nebraska matches positional value with the NFL. Other programs don't necessarily view the market the same way, and in certain instances, it has kept Nebraska from truly having a seat at the table in certain recruitments. That's a very interesting quote from Tim because Matt Rule has always said, The desperate team sets the market. The desperate team sets the market. There are moments where I've said, and I've wanted Nebraska to be the best desperate team. Like, at some point, if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, we're not going to overspend, we're not going to overspend, we're not going to overpay, and good player goes over the board, well, maybe you got to reset your markets. Maybe you got to reset your values.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to reset what you think people are really worth. And I think this quote, right, they think that there's some frustration that they match positional value with the NFL. I think this is kind of the number one example was the running back room last year, where they did, they had Emmett and they were like, we're not going to overpay for another running back. Like, running backs aren't that valuable in the NFL. We're not going to go ahead and go over the top to overpay to get
shows every day. You got to go get a running back. You got to go.
And it ended up working out pretty well for him, right? And so it's like there's the yin and the yang in terms of should they be valuing wide receivers as much as they are, because that's a high value position in the NFL. That's a high value position for them that they go and pay for. Should they be valuing corners more here? You can have this conversation over and over again, but it is interesting that this is kind of the first time, at least that I've seen it written, that Nebraska is looking at college football player acquisition through the lens of the NFL, right? And let's see how it pans out for them, right? Let's see. Are they ahead of the curve? Are they looking at everything a little bit earlier, the way that eventually everybody will look at it? Will the market end up kind of forming into the NFL market, and Nebraska is just early on it and it'll be an advantage for them? Or are they adjusting too quickly and, playing the wrong game when it comes to valuing certain positions in college football? We will see. Alrighty, I believe we'll get Mike Schaefer up and going in the next segment here. Excited to join my friend here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We want to tell you to come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. And don't forget to also come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some free hash hole vouchers from Early Bird. Early Bird Brunch, not your everyday brunch, every day here at the OBV, Middays with Matt. Returning to you after this break from the Omaha Baseball Village on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Special edition of Middays with Matt here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Mike Schaefer still at a CVS. What's up, Schaefer? We need you. Not really. Josh Hodson and I are having a great time here at the OBV. We want to remind you that this broadcast from the Omaha Baseball Village is powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. Also, Hour 1 is presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. What a hell of a weekend we have in sports. Josh Hodson has a bunch of different things that are going on. We have the World Cup begins today at 8 o'clock. We have UFC Freedom 250, a really good card for the UFC. I want to go as far as to say it's a great card, but it's a very, very good card.
I don't know any of these people.
We also have the Stanley Cup Finals going on. Carolina Hurricanes, Las Vegas Golden Knights. That series, 3-2 lead for Carolina. We'll have Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Knicks and the Spurs tomorrow. Also, look, there's been some conversations. I've listened to it, and I've read some combos about reseeding, right? For the College World Series. Okay, I understand it completely. Like, Texas and Georgia arguably are probably 1A or 1B or two of the best teams right at the CWS. They got to play each other in the first game. West Virginia, they were the last regional seed. They were the last hosting seed in the NCAA tournament. They get, in terms of seeding, the best draw on the 3 seed in Troy. So I understand some of the conversations that are had about reseeding in the College World Series, and, Georgia and Texas, if they were on the opposite sides of the bracket, that would probably be a lot of people's pick to be our College World Series final. I will say, I'm not going to so much get into the should the NCAA decide to reseed in the CWS or not. I'm going to get into this. Even though we don't have reseeding, these matchups are awesome. We have a lot of really, really good matchups in the first weekend of the College World Series. Obviously, you have Georgia versus Texas. That'll take place tomorrow night. That game, Georgia absolutely pounding the ball. I mean, it's not just a team that, hey, they play in a smaller stadium or anything like a smaller field. No, they hit the crap out of the ball. Georgia does. And in the night game tomorrow, where the wind might be dead, it could be really, really entertaining to see how much they mash. But at the same time, they're playing Dylan Valances, right, in Texas probably, and the Longhorns, and that should be Valances is one of the best pitchers in the country. That'll be a marquee matchup. But even today, West Virginia and Troy, styles make fights, right? We're talking about UFC Freedom 250, talking about West Virginia and Troy. Troy, they're hitting the ball really, really well. Outside of Oklahoma, arguably the other hottest team heading into this tournament. A lot of really things to get excited for. Do you have a fight or a game or a soccer match or a baseball game you're most excited for? Is there anything that you're really fired up about?
I'm actually really excited about this first game today. West Virginia and Troy, two teams never been here before. Somebody's going to start 1-0. Let's see. Let's look around here.
I haven't seen as many Omaneers as you would think at the OBV.
There's a lot. They're all in line at the Black.
I was about to say, I think they're working their way maybe past us or to us at some point.
Look, we're all here in Omaha kind of rooting for. Boy, I'd really like them to sing Country Roads in the stadium. That would be quite the moment.
Absolutely. We're also rooting for as many beers to be drank.
Yes, I'm rooting for Pat McAfee to stay here as long as possible and spend millions and millions of dollars of his brand new $60 million a year salary.
If there's any tourists that are here, we love you. Please spend money, okay? We love you. We love your green cash, though, too.
Yes,
so please come to Omaha. Tip your bartenders.
Oh,
that is
your waiters, your waitresses.
Yes. Rule number 1 of the College World Series. Tip your bartenders, tip your waiters, tip your waitresses, and be nice to people. You know what? You're going to be here for quite a while. If your team is winning a lot of baseball games, the guy that you pay a cover to today or the girl you pay a cover to today, you might be paying that cover tomorrow and the day after, it might come back and help you. So be nice to people. I like that, Josh Hodson. I like that, Troy in West Virginia. I'll give you something I'm really excited about. UFC Freedom 250, I think that it's all about the event. It's all about the venue. It's all about the fact that they're, on the White House, right? And there's going to be a fight, which is very like Roman and barbarian to celebrate the 250th anniversary. We're going to have a bunch of gladiators going to a ring, and the president is going to be right there. And it'll be funny if at one point he does the thumb up, thumb sideways. It's a joke.
There is a not 0% chance he will stand up and make that joke.
He might make that, and I will laugh at it.
Yes,
I think some people might write thought pieces on it.
Yeah.
I will not. I think it's hysterical. There's one thing though. So we're talking about the venue. We're talking about where they're fighting. We're talking about the president. History can be made here, Josh Hodson. Do you know a guy by the name of Alex Pereira?
Last name sounds vaguely familiar.
He's the guy who beat, Israel Adesanya.
I know.
He's the guy who beat him.
Okay.
And that was a really big deal. Alex Pereira, one of the best fighters and has been one of the best fighters in the UFC for the last couple of years. He's trying to do something that I never thought I'd see a human do. So he has won a title in middleweight, 185 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's won a title in light heavyweight, 205 pounds. He is trying to win the heavyweight title in the UFC. He would be the first ever UFC 3-division champion if he were to win, to beat Ciryl Gane. Gane is a guy, he's been in the heavyweight picture for a while in the UFC, most notably getting his butt whooped by John Jones a couple of years ago. But if it's something that's not being talked about enough, in my opinion. I never thought I would see a human win 3 UFC titles in 3 different divisions. It would be one of the most impressive feats in all of sports if he were able to do that. He will attempt that on Sunday at UFC Freedom 250. So I want to give that a little bit of attention and a little bit of love here. Middays with Matt at the Omaha Baseball Village, having a fun time broadcasting. Mike Schaefer has just joined us here at the OBV. So we're going to hit a break in a second here, and then we'll talk to Schaefer about some of the things that he wants to touch on. He's a lot of great segment ideas. We do want to let you know that save the date for Friday night live at the mat. Friday, June 19th, Pet Rock plays live at OBB for the first time. Grab your friends and get ready to party. This is an all-ages show. See you next Friday at the mat. And also, 1620 The Zone is joined today by powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. Here from the OBV. Special edition here of Middays with Matt at the Omaha Baseball Village, which is powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours and our friends at Children's Nebraska. Hour one, presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. Matt McMaster, joined by Mike Schaefer here of Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike with a nice cup of Joe. How are you?
I'm good. How are we doing over here?
So you're in the unenviable position, actually the position that I was in a year ago this time, of having to host the morning show.
Sure.
And then having to come on here for 2 hours.
Not having to, getting to.
Getting to. Look at you. It felt like at times I had to last year, if I'm being honest. I love the positivity, Mike Schaefer.
I love doing these shows. Like,
I do
have
too.
had so much fun, whether it's been Josh Peterson. I think I've done one with Happer. I think I did one with Nick Hanley. I don't know that I've ever, because Gary was doing games.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
probably
don't know that Damon and I ever did a show,
Okay.
or Michael Severe and I ever did a show. Those two usually just did their thing together.
I think
what
honestly,
have you,
like
but-
you could make an argument that me doing these shows last year are probably some of the more important shows in my career, just because of all the other people I got to host with.
You said something similar to me when I met up with you after one of these shows last year, and you were in the beer garden.
I didn't really know Josh Peterson. Like,
Yeah.
we literally hadn't talked to each other. Like,
Well, yeah, because
I think we said a total of like 100
you would
words
go in
to
at
each other.
5:55 in the morning, and he would go in at 1:42 in the afternoon.
I love
Never
by the
show
way,
the two meet.
you clarifying the record of I did show up at 5:55. I used to tell people I showed up at 5:30. I don't think I showed up at 5:30 after like the first 2
I
months.
set out every day with the goal of trying to be in the parking lot by 5:45,
Okay.
and I've accomplished it maybe 4 times in the.
It is so hard.
But I've never been later than 5:52, so it's not like it's
The latest.
No, that's not true. The very first show, because
Oh yeah. Well.
the
there you
show
go.
never started at 6 a.m.
So,
in the previous iteration of it.
The latest I ever
But
got
the Connor
on.
Happer iteration could never start any later than 5:59 in,
The latest I ever got on without being late was 6:07.
wow.
That was a bad day.
Now, I did actually oversleep one time, so I guess the latest I got there was
Hey.
the 7 o'clock hour.
Look who you're talking to. I did that too. It happens.
well,
There's nothing wrong.
it happens.
All righty. Let's do a fun little segment here. We have about 10 minutes before we have to hit a break. Your incredible producer, Joey Colbert, producing for
Joey.
us here back at our studios at 50th
Will Joey
and
talk
Dodge.
to us?
Joey can talk to us if he would like to.
Joey, say something.
This is great radio.
Saying something.
There you
All
go.
right.
Thank you, Joey Colbert.
I gotta do some math for you guys.
Okay, thank you for doing math, Joey Colbert. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to say something nice to each other. Okay, you and I.
Good luck.
You and I have some tension because we both love football. Okay, we do love the same college basketball team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers,
Sure.
but we both love football, and we have very different football teams that are in the same division as one another, and there is some tension between us because you're a Minnesota Viking fan, I'm a Chicago Bear fan. You would, I have been standing on very, very high pedestals, screaming from the mountaintop, telling people how great my football team is.
Yep.
You would make the argument that I don't have a pedestal to stand on because of the fact that my football team has been really bad for the better part of a decade. So because we always have that tension, I wanted to say something nice. Say something nice about your Vikings and your Cleveland Guardians. I have 2 things I'm going to say nice about your teams.
Let me predict what you will say about the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, go ahead.
Do not change this if this is the route you are going to go. You are going to say something to the effect of, I think you have a really good head coach who runs a good offense. That would be my guess.
No, that was
Really?
not what I was going
You
to
told me
say.
that before, so I just figured you were going to recycle it.
I love that in a world where everyone is offense, and even despite the fact the Vikings have put their head into being a good offensive team with Kevin O'Connell, I love the fact that the Vikings have always, in my mind, been a defensive team. I love that. I know, like, the Minnesota Vikings are in a little bit of way.
This is a product of when you were born.
Million percent.
Because you caught the 2009 Vikings where that defense, for as much as it was Favre,
Yeah.
that defense was the
Awesome.
Jared Allen, Pat Williams,
Yes.
Kevin Williams, Ray Edwards, and then you have Greenway as a linebacker. You have decent secondary. Harrison Smith isn't there yet, but they're okay. And then you get the Mike Zimmer Vikings, and the Leslie
Who
Frazier
are-
Vikings were built on defense.
Oh, the Mike Zimmer defense
Yeah.
Vikings were the ones where I'm like, I have so much respect for them. And I think Harrison Smith is easily my favorite non-Bear in the NFL.
Really?
I love Harrison Smith and how
He is
played.
one of I've had 3 Vikings jerseys in my life. He's one of 3.
Did you get a CJ Ham jersey?
No, I did
Okay.
not have a
That would have been a great jersey for you to get. I just love how defense-oriented Minnesota Vikings are. And they're almost a little bit like when you sit down and you watch an Iowa Hawkeye football game, you know what you're going to get.
Sure.
I kind of like that with the Vikings. I kind of like that for a very long time. I sat down and I understood, okay, this is the type of game I'm going to watch.
Interesting.
Viking football, I very rarely was I like, oh, I have to watch the Vikings today. Like, I enjoy watching your team play football. So there you go. That's my compliment to you.
All right. Well,
This is going to be very hard for you to give a
let me
compliment
see what
to
sort
me.
of compliment I can come up with. I appreciate that the Chicago Bears as an organization have the courage to move a franchise that has been in the city of Chicago.
No. We're not. This is a hunk of crap. All right. I wrote
They
this
have the
I
courage.
wrote this segment down to be genuine. We were going to say genuine, nice
All right,
things
I'll
to
give
each
you.
other.
I'll give you a genuine thing.
We could say mean things about each other in the later show.
One of the things that I appreciate about the Chicago Bears, also loathed because it generally comes at the expense of the Minnesota Vikings at times, is they have a very strong history of defensive backs that are absolutely ball hawks.
Yes.
Or, in the case of Charles Tillman or Peanut Tillman, the Peanut Punch. Mike Brown is the first Chicago Bear that I will think of.
Yeah.
When I think of the Chicago Bears, he will be the last Chicago Bear that I think of.
That's cool.
The connection to Nebraska being what it was. And I know that you would have been around like a year old at the apex of the Mike Brown experience with the Chicago Bears. But the man won back-to-back games with interceptions returned for a touchdown in back-to-back weeks in the NFL.
It's so.
I think it was back-to-back
It's
weeks.
so
I'd have
funny.
to go
Like
clarify
Mike
this.
Brown is the player where it's like his number's not getting retired in
Sure.
Soldier Field or anything like that. But if you were
He's
to
a
ask,
guy that in a certain era everybody appreciated for what
if
he
you
was.
were to ask go to a Bears fan your age or even my dad's age, he's like 62, and say Mike Brown, they would go, oh, oh my God,
Yeah.
what a player. And that was like funny growing up, like having to be told about him and then going to Nebraska and being like, hey, that guy that everybody speaks so highly of, they also speak very high. Like everywhere I've been in my sport life, people have loved Mike Brown. Like that has been a thing. But you say DB's like the one that doesn't get mentioned enough is Tim Jennings. Like Tim Jennings was absolutely incredible.
I was thinking Eddie Jackson.
He was kind
I
of
was thinking
well, and the other guy too. Like you say Eddie Jackson, I always think of the counterpart. Like you think of Peanut Tillman, I think of Tim Jennings was awesome. You say Eddie Jackson, I think Adrian Amos was absolutely incredible and was just a stalwart for that defense. But even like Bryce Callahan, he was a great nickelback for Chicago. Even they got 1 year of Buster Strean. That was like the best year of his career in Chicago. You even now like this kind of new era, this newer era, right, in terms of Jalen Johnson, Tyree Stevenson, Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker. Like those are going to be 4 guys that Bears fans love and hold in deep regard. But even before that, like Kyle Fuller,
Yep.
and then here's another Nebraska name, Prince Amukamara.
I was going to mention
was
Prince,
was so good for the Chicago Bears, and not only just 2018 but 2019 as well. I think Prince was kind of bordering on being that number 1 corner in that 2019 season.
Well, now they have Jalen Johnson, right?
Jalen,
He's
so good.
fantastic.
They just got to stay healthy. But that's a great compliment by you. The DBs I've always lived in a Bears
people
era
always
where
want to
the
talk about
DBs been great.
linebackers. They sometimes want to talk about defensive line play. You talk about the Bears defense, and I just feel like for me, there's always these guys that just made plays in the secondary.
1,000,000%.
And the more I think about it, and the more I think about my football experience, I just have like a really strong appreciation for defensive back play. I think all the teams that I really liked, or when Nebraska was really good, and I was talking about Mike Brown. I mean, that's when you have Mike Brown, you have Ralph Brown, you have Mike Minner, you have all of these different guys. I mean, growing up, for me, and those early Nebraska teams who were playing for national titles, and it's like they have Michael Booker, they have Tyrone Hughes.
Do you want to guess who my favorite 90s football player for Nebraska is? Because I've had to go back and watch these old
favorite
games.
90s football
He's a
player for
DB.
Nebraska? It's a defensive back?
Yeah, it's a defensive back.
I don't have a guess right off the top
I
of
love
my
Baron Miles.
Oh, well, yeah, he blocked a lot of punts. He was about your height.
Yeah.
So you could really, I mean, without offending Baron Miles, your build and his build aren't all that different.
Yeah, but he's an insane athlete and absolutely incredible. And
his instincts.
I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like I was watching old 90s Nebraska.
Can I give you some homework?
Yeah, I love homework.
Can you sometime, maybe during a break, because I would watch it with you, just go to YouTube, put in Big Red Rock Terrell Farley,
Okay.
and then just watch 2 minutes and 42 seconds of a badass flying around the field. Josh knows what I'm talking about.
Gary and I would do this where like we would be like we'd go to a break and he would flip his computer and be like, all right, kid, watch this. Like he would show me the 01 football team.
Terrell Farley, has that come up for you?
But yeah, doesn't he I know
he works over at the ticket. He's involved with the ticket.
I've met Terrell, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice guy. All right. We're going to hit a break here, but we want to let you know to save the date for Friday Night Live at the Mat. Friday, June 19th. That's next Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday. Friday Night Live at the Mat. Pet Rock plays live at OBB for the first time. Grab your friends and get ready to party. This is an all-ages show. See you next Friday at the Mat. And 1620 The Zone is joined today and powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. What? Well, what Mike Schaefer and I are going to do next, we're talk to some great people at the Omaha Baseball Village.
All right,
so we're excited about that. A special edition of Middays with Matt at the OBV on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
This special edition of Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and Children's Nebraska. Here's Matt McMaster and Mike Schaefer on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt, a special edition here at the Omaha Baseball Village, is powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. We want to remind you, Hour 1 was presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. Hour 2 of this special edition of Middays with Matt at the Omaha Baseball Village is presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. We had our buddies at No Block, No Rock who will be joining us. Michael and Jared stop by. They will be on the show here at 11:30. I believe we'll be talking to some more people at the Omaha Baseball
Jared
Village.
got off the wrong exit. It looks like he was trying to get to St. Louis and ended up here in Omaha.
Did you see who the last name was on the jersey?
No,
I have no idea. It's the last name I haven't seen in quite some time.
Was it his last name?
Was it? Oh my God! If Jared got a
Personalized jersey.
What do you think of people who get personalized jerseys, Mike Schaefer?
You do whatever you want. If you're going to get a jersey, and you are one of those people that's worried that the player won't be there or whatever it is, maybe you want a personalized jersey so you can prevent that from happening.
See, that's the most Mike Schaefer take I've ever heard, Josh Hodson. Him just letting people live the lives that they want to live.
Look,
how dare you not? How dare you not judge people? How dare you not make fun of people?
Hold on. I would not do it.
There you go.
Because I don't need Schaefer on a Vikings jersey or on a Guardians jersey.
This is a classic sport radio manalytic question that people love. What do you think about wearing just jerseys in general as a
I'm fine with
man?
it. I think the disdain for it is over the top.
I think it's over the top as well.
I think it's the Nickelback of sports attire opinions.
Ooh.
Like people just glommed onto it and they decide that they don't like something, and even though secretly people enjoy putting on jerseys.
Here's my thing. I feel like some people are trying to be macho to be macho. It's like I would never wear a grown man's last name on my back.
The same people that tell you that you shouldn't wear jerseys are the ones that tell you that you lost your man card, as if that's a real thing.
Sure.
These are
you don't have
people
one.
that,
You don't have one in your wallet. You want me to pull mine out?
Okay, this fictional thing that you created, I don't care about. All right. Can we go back to a conversation that involves both of us, or am I still in your weird fantasy that you have over here?
It's a good point. Now, my dad does have an interesting rule where he does not care about wearing jerseys. He doesn't like, though, wearing the jerseys of an 18-year-old.
Of what?
Of someone way younger than him.
Oh, okay. So I have a buddy who's a guy that I worked with a long time ago in the newspaper profession. He's a Packers fan.
Okay.
I don't hold that against him that much.
I would.
But his rule was he would never wear a jersey of an offensive player.
What?
All of his jerseys had to be defensive players.
Why?
That was his rule. And he wore a Ray Nitschke jersey.
Talk about living in a fantasy world where you create your own rules. That would probably be on the top of that.
I don't understand it. And it led to him wearing a Clay Matthews jersey that I would make fun of him for wearing a fair amount. But
Clay Matthews is definitely one of the players that you're like, he's great, but I will never get around.
I won't even say he's great. I think he's a one-trick pony.
Do you think he's the Derrick Jeter?
I think it was ridiculous that he would be considered a linebacker when he's a defensive end.
So I was going to say, what would you even consider him as a position? Because I was about to say linebacker and then go, it's really DN. I think he definitely was propped up of being in the position wearing the jersey that he was in. Sure.
I think if he had a normal haircut, no one would talk about him at all.
Here's a great combo. If you were to switch Levante David and Clay Matthews, right? I think
one of those guys plays linebacker.
But what I'm telling you is that we don't talk about Levante David enough, even though he's a guy who will be in Canton, Ohio. No, but I'm saying that if he were a Packer, we would talk about him all the time. We would always be talking about Levante David.
I'm not sure on that.
I am look, now you're going to bring up the point. It's a valid point that Levante isn't a very outspoken type guy. He's not a look at me type dude. But I do think that there definitely are jerseys that when you wear them, you are a bigger deal than as opposed to another jersey. If Levante David was a Dallas Cowboy compared to being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, we would definitely talk about his legacy in a way different light.
So my thing is Levante plays the position in such a way that everything he does is really sound, and it's appreciated when you're watching replays or you're thinking to watch him. he doesn't play it in a way that's so flashy or so,
Sure.
so it's hard for him to stand out. It's not that he isn't a really good player. He's a very good player.
That's never been the issue.
He's never going to lead the league in sacks. He's never going to lead the league in interceptions. He's never going to lead the league in defensive touchdowns. But what he is going to do is get a ton of tackles, play fundamentally sound football, be the guy that every offensive coordinator has to mark where he is at all times. He's your football coach's favorite defensive player.
Yeah.
Like, he's that. But that isn't like a marketable, stick it on a T-shirt,
Sure.
put him on ESPN and highlights.
But there are people who have done way less in their careers that we know.
Sure.
We talk about them way
But
more.
why do we talk about it?
Because the jerseys that they're wearing, because they're a Cowboy, because they're a Steeler.
Okay,
because
who's a
they're
Cowboy example for you?
Well, I mean,
Because
how
if you say DeMarcus Ware,
long?
he's a
How
really,
long did
really
we?
good player.
How long did we talk about Trayvon Diggs over and over and over and over
Yeah,
and
like
over?
7
and over
interceptions
and over
in 1 year.
I mean, we
He also
talked
gave
about
up
the
like
Ron
12 touchdowns
Bland
in that
over and
same
over.
year.
I mean, we're talking about Levante David, who was arguably the greatest player of his franchise. Levante David is arguably the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneer
Ooh.
to ever don that uniform.
How are the Derek Brooks and Mike Allstott people?
See,
gonna
so
handle this?
Derek Brooks, I don't know if Allstott is as much of an argument as Levante, but I would say
Oh,
Derek
you-
Brooks is.
Say that to the people who really like what Mike Allstott did, which was be a fullback.
That is, we do fantasize. Nostalgia porn has never reached higher until we talk about fullbacks. Fullbacks
Well,
are peak nostalgia porn
In this state,
sport.
especially.
I know. I've come to learn that.
Who's the best Chicago Bears fullback of your lifetime?
I don't know any of them. Maybe the guy that they cut last year,
I can't think of a
Prob-
single.
probably Doug Kramer,
I
who
don't
was
think I
the
can think of a single Bears fullback.
probably Doug Kramer, who was our extra offensive lineman, who lined up as a fullback every once in a while, and then they handed him the ball against Washington and he fumbled. Probably that guy.
The two positions where I think I would struggle to just name Chicago Bears would be fullback and tackle.
Kyle Long, Isaac
How
Trapillo.
long? Yeah. But he
Um,
moved into guard for the Saints.
Kyle just played wherever he needed
Yeah.
to play, really. Darnell Wright right now. We had a Cody Whitehair was playing. No, he was playing center.
yeah,
Even I failed. They got
Like-
that one guy. The 1 year Donnie was the assistant offensive line coach. They got the one guy,
Trevin Jenkins.
Tevin Jenkins. He was a second round pick a couple of years ago, but he had back problems,
Yeah.
and he was
But
he
that's
was
what I mean.
more of
Like,
a guard
I
than a
feel like,
tackle.
for the most part, because you see the team 2 times a year, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of a lot of Bears players at different positions.
Sure.
But now that I'm sitting here thinking about it,
I don't
it's
know
hard
if
to
I
come
could.
up with notable tackles.
I think I'd have a very tough time coming up with Minnesota Viking offensive linemen. I could come up
You'd have
with
Bryant McKinney. Would be
didn't
a
you
big
have
one
Matt
you'd start
Khalil
with.
right at one point?
Steve Hutchinson's a Hall of Fame caliber lineman. Randall McDaniel was a Hall of Fame caliber lineman.
See,
Matt
I'd-
Burke was a borderline, not Hall of Fame, but Ring of Honor guy.
I'd have no problem naming like a bunch of Minnesota, like even like your crap,
But
like
Minnesota's known for its
who is
offensive skill
that?
players.
Who's that safety? Xavier Rhodes or Xavier?
Cornerback Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, like even the guys that you guys ended up hating on the defensive end, I will end up naming. I don't
He was
really know
really
too many
good.
O linemen.
Yeah, he was really
a couple
good
of
for a
years.
long time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like if you don't think if Levante was wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey or he was wearing a San Francisco 49ers jersey, we talk about him more. He'd have more Pro Bowls. He'd be more popular. This would be an easier. The fact that we even have to, some people even need to talk about Levante being in the Hall of Fame is crazy to me. I think if he were on a more notable and zoomed in franchise
that
that gets
the big
talked
thing
about
is, like,
every
okay,
week, he would be a bigger
If
deal.
he's on the Cowboys but never wins a Super Bowl,
There's plenty of guys who are the Cowboys who never win a Super Bowl. All of the Cowboys I've ever known never won a Super Bowl.
sure.
Des Bryant, we talk about him.
But I don't know that
Tony Romo
any
talk
of
about
them
him.
are
Zach
talked about
Martin.
as like amazing defensive players outside of Micah Parsons, who's legitimately
Yeah,
great, and DeMarcus Ware, who's
Ware.
legitimately great. That's the end of the list.
Yeah, Sean Lee. They talked about him incessantly for
Well, they
year
talk
after
about
year.
Leighton Vander Esch too, but guys get hurt and they don't perform.
Welcome to the Omaha Baseball Village Middays of Matt Show, where it's just going to be Mike Schaefer and Matt having just very off-the-wall niche NFL football takes. Just
You're going to take one
dropping a
stance, and I'm going to take a just deviation of the same stance every time.
I didn't think I'd drop a Sean Lee reference today.
Oh, this is going to be a guys
I
naming
mean,
dudes kind of
Omaha-
Omaha Baseball Village.
I think
speak.
Josh Peterson is currently at Charles Schwab Field right now, loving the Cowboys talk that we're currently having. Hey, we want to let you know to come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. And the 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. This summer, pick up a Coca-Cola and drink in America's 250th birthday. What a fun time. We're having some great Coca-Cola products today. I'm having my White Monster energy drink, keeping me nice and fueled for this great Omaha Baseball Village show. Joey Colbert back at the 50th and Dodge Studios. We'll hit a break here on Middays with Matt. Do you want to do some predictions coming up next?
Yeah, let's do some predictions.
Let's do some predictions here on a special edition of Middays with Matt on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Special edition of Middays with Matt here, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. Hour 2 of the special edition of MWM is presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. Matt McMaster joined by Mike Schaefer, pulling double duty. Had a great show with Michael Severe this morning.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Hopefully we get Michael.
Got a lot of random conversation this morning.
We have a text from Mike McMaster.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me read
Is
this.
he listening?
No, he's not listening to us. I'm not going to read this. He's freaking out about a certain one of his favorite ESPN personalities.
Well, so when I walked over here, there's just people stopped in the street staring up.
Oh, really?
Because of this show that's happening.
So,
and
yeah,
they're
there's
trying to get on the camera behind the show.
There's a very famous YouTuber here who is very famous for having a partnership with a former MLB baseball player who is no longer in the league for certain reasons. I walked by him, okay, and all the kids were surrounding him. I was like, what the hell is going on? I just kind of walked right by him. Look, he kind of alphaed him, if I'm being honest with you, Mike Schaefer.
Wow.
I know. I felt like a big dog when I walked by this guy. But anyway, yeah, my dad loves the ESPN personality who's broadcasting at the Blatt. So he's telling me all about it as if I don't know. Hey, Pops, I have an idea. Listen to your own son on the radio. Dad?
He didn't want to hear us talking about Chicago Bears. I don't believe
No, I don't think he wanted us to talk about Sean Lee's legacy with the Dallas Cowboys. You and I, we haven't really worked together that closely. I've
done shows of you before,
but not. We've never really.
You were a one-time guest on the Sunday side session.
A 2-time guest on the Sunday side session.
Well, that first game I don't remember. So
yeah, you failed to remember. By the way, it was one of the bigger honors of my young career of being a little gremlin at KLIN, not really having a full-time job, and for you to go, hey, do you want to come on my 24/7 podcast? That was a big career-defining moment at the time for me.
I like to, and since I often have a bunch of random side projects, I like to get different people involved with
Yeah.
it.
No,
People did that for me. And so, I feel like it's important when you have the opportunity to not just go to the same 4 or 5 people that you hear all the time to try to spread it out.
Well, I love that.
How, randomly, I asked Lauren Michelson to come onto a podcast that I was doing about media members because I wanted to learn more about Lauren Michelson.
Well, you did
and
that.
Then found out, hey, this is someone that people need to utilize more.
Well, I love our lineup, the new lineup in terms of the interviews that we're having. Because the fact that Tim Verdees now is on 1620 Zone 3 times a week is absolutely incredible. We talked about Tim's awesome article he wrote yesterday about Nebraska and some of the reputation they're building in the recruiting game. It was a great read for anybody. All right, let's do some predictions. You had a great suggestion here. You wanted to have you and I make a prediction for basically every single big sporting event, and we're going to track it from now until the next time we are here
so we should probably
at the Omaha Baseball Village.
Throw
Now,
these in.
I'm going to make an amendment here.
Okay.
You have the British Open. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we change that to next weekend's U.S. Open?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So we'll
We
change
can do
that to next weekend's
I
US
just wanted
Open.
to make sure that we could get it in before, and we're not going to do all of these predictions right now. But
Yeah. No.
I figured we could kind of
We'll do
throw
it
them in
throughout.
throughout the
Let's
few days that we're
save
gonna
our CWS predictions
do it.
for
We got to do that
today before we get into the first game between
Okay.
Troy and West Virginia. We'll do that in the last segment where we'll make our predictions. How about this? Let's make our prediction. Which one are you most comfortable making a 2027 prediction for right now?
Well, do you want to just, because the season's already sort of ongoing, do you want to do your World Series prediction as of right now?
Well, this is probably my weakest one. This is probably the one that I have the least confidence in.
I didn't put it on there because I didn't know if we would know the participants of it. I know you're a big Kentucky Derby guy. Do you want to try to call your shot at
No. There's no.
Because I don't think that makes a lot of
I mean,
sense.
if you were really into it, you would know the 2-year-olds who are going to be in the big prep
Do you want the
races.
Daytona 500 or something on there as well?
No, we don't know who all the cars are going to be because I could pick Denny Hamlin, but Denny might
You want
not
to do an
have a
F1
ride.
thing?
No, I'm not Nick Grimm. I'm not
Okay.
a weirdo. No. I think we're good. I think what we got is good. Let's do. Look, it's Major League Baseball. I'm a sport broadcaster. I should know a thing or two about it.
I am not connected to the internet.
It's okay. I will write this down on my phone. Who is your? I'm actually curious right now. We're 70 games in, just about 65 games into the MLB season.
Let's say that again.
We're 65 games into the MLB
Yeah,
season, just
roughly.
about. Who are you predicting to
Roughly.
win the World Series?
I'd say closer to probably 70, 72, 73
yeah.
games.
Who are you predicting to win the World Series?
Trying to think of even what my preseason prediction was at this point.
Probably the Dodgers, just like
no.
everybody else.
I basically never predict the Dodgers because
You're a contrarian.
A
You
little
don't like
bit.
to be.
And I'm mad about the Dodgers every year, so I don't want success for them.
Don't get mad about the Dodgers in front of Dodgers fans, though. They'll get really mad. At
I
you
would guess
about
that I had a
that.
Mets-related prediction before the year began, so that probably isn't going to stand.
No, if you had a Phillies-related prediction, though, you'd feel pretty good about how they've turned the ship
Sure.
around with Don Mattingly.
Well, it's a long season.
It's a long season. The
I
Cubs, I
often
think, are going to be
think
better
that we
than they are.
we get a little, bent out of shape over it. Let's just say
Are you going to pull the Mike Farron and say that it's too early to tell? Is that what you're saying?
we'll go Mariners out of the AL because
All
they
right.
have the best pitching. They're kind of slumped a little bit at the beginning of the year. I don't really the NL feels wide open to me outside if you weren't taking the Dodgers. Like if the Braves are playing great baseball, but they couldn't
Acuna.
handle your friends over on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's concerning.
Well, my friends at the south side of Chicago might end up making the playoffs. They're
Yeah,
currently
they might.
leading
They
the
very
AL.
well. The American League is bad.
I'm
If I felt like
nervous
Cleveland
about,
actually wanted to win, I could predict Cleveland,
I'm
but they
nervous
don't want
about
to
the
win.
White Sox having a good future. They have had the most debuts in the MLB this
Mm-hmm.
season, and they're only 60 games in, and they still, according to Chuck Garfien, who's been around the Chicago broadcasting, medium for like 20 years, this is like the deepest the farm system he's ever seen it. And at one point, the Sox had 7 top 100 prospects. So
I'm
I'm
gonna say-
nervous about the Sox.
I'm going to say Mariners, and I'm going to say Brewers. That's my prediction.
Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay
Okay.
and the Dodgers. I think it's going to be a repeat of that fake 2020 World
Ugh.
Series that we
What a
had.
horrible.
But-
Two teams that I just don't like at all on the opposite ends of the spectrum. The Rays, where we have to celebrate every stupid little thing they've ever
but
done.
that's cool. They're cool. The
No,
Dodgers
They're not.
They muscle their way through baseball.
Many small market franchises do what they do, and
know
yet
that-
we always have to talk about it.
Have you seen I read articles and watched video on how like the Rays are like valuing weak contact now. It's
Yeah.
like that.
You know
like
who
their
did that
big
in
slam.
22 and 24? The Cleveland Guardians. You know how unfun that was to watch?
Yeah, but if they
Me.
win, who cares? If they win, how I would love. Oh my
People
God, this
say that.
81
No,
team
no,
is
no, no,
so
no, no.
fun to watch.
People
I've read-
say that, and then you'll get to October, and all of your baseball voices will be like, well, you can't win this way. This isn't how it's going to work. You won't survive the power pitching. You won't be able to match up. And it's true. I mean, Cleveland built their teams off of putting the ball in play and having the best bullpen in baseball, and they still got absolutely smacked down by Giancarlo Stanton
Okay, so
and Juan Soto, and to a smaller degree, Aaron Judge.
I have, attaboy. I have Rays versus Dodgers. You have Mariners versus Brewers.
Yeah.
Who is your champion?
I don't actually think this could happen, but I'm going to go with a Brewers World Series title.
This guy clear. I mean, as someone who is a baseball historian like you should know the Brewers will never win a World Series.
Well, they've already won a World Series.
They will never win a World Series when I'm alive. Okay,
They're pretty good.
they suck.
They have good pitching.
Yuck.
They have hitters that are peaking
I don't
at
care.
kind of the right time in their career. They have the ability, if they want to, you're not going to like this. They have the ability, if they want to go get anybody that's going to be available that the Dodgers don't want to overpay for. They have the prospect capital. They can financially make it happen for a season or two if they choose to. And they've been good for a little while. If I was you,
They're losers.
I'd be a little concerned that the Brewers have the ability to kind of go get what they need if they want to. Whether they do or not, we'll see.
I'm just going to always go to the fact that I just think the Brewers are going to always lose in the playoffs in the biggest moments until they
They
don't.
tend to.
They tend to just choke in the most magnificent ways. Trent Grisham. God, I replay that play in right field every once in a while.
Wasn't it Tyrone Taylor?
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Grisham who ran over that ball.
I thought it was Tyrone
I'm
Taylor.
pretty sure it was Grisham. We can look it up during the break. I'm almost positive it was Trent Grisham. Anyway,
Okay.
I will go ahead and say that the Rays will go ahead and win the World Series
Really?
over the Dodgers. Yeah, I just, look, I'm not an expert on Major League Baseball, but I like it when teams.
I'm not
do
an
things-
expert on Major League
I
Baseball. I
like
just watch it.
I like it when teams do. They zig where everybody's zagging. And the Rays have always done that, and I've always respected about the Rays franchise. I've always respected the fact that they've just always kind of found new and creative ways to, I don't game the system and
Most
not,
annoying team in the sport,
and
not
not
named the
have
Dodgers.
to do what everybody else is doing, but have a tremendous amount of success. I think they're doing it once again this year. I think they're due. I think they're due to finally break through.
Cool. The
and
World Series champion will play in front of 700 people weekly.
That's fine. That's okay. I hate
it.
I think
Contract
it's just-
that franchise.
This is just predictions. I'm just trying to win
Contract 'em.
predictions. I'm not contracting anything. I never contract anything other than I'm pretty sure it was Trent Grisham who ran over that ball in right field. Hour two, or sorry, that's the first time I read the wrong ad here on the Omaha Baseball Village show. Save the date for Friday Night Live at the Mat. Friday, June 19th. Bet Rock plays live at OBV for the first time. Grab your friends and get ready to party. This is an all-ages show. See you at the Mat next Friday. And come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some free hash hole vouchers from Early Bird. Early Bird brunch, not your everyday brunch every day. No block, no rock. Our buddies Mike and Jared are joining us next here on a special edition of Middays with Matt on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Edition of Middays with Matt here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Hour 2, presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. And we want to let you know that this special edition is powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. We have two very special guests on Matt McMaster's favorite Nebraska podcast. This is true. I'm not kissing your butts. This is true. No Block, No Rock's very own Mike and Jared.
Hey, man.
Boys,
How
good
are
to see
you? What
we
is
are
going
joined
on?
by a guy who looks like he's about to walk into Memorial Stadium and the St. Louis Cardinals bullpen catcher. Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
You have the shorts, you have the jersey, you have the hat.
I'm letting my piggies hang out today. Letting
Whose
these ugly
jersey
piggies.
do you have on?
This is Tom Lawless. And
Okay.
so what I need all your listeners to do is just look up Tom Lawless bat flip, and it is literally the greatest bat flip in the history of the major leagues.
Okay. I
Okay,
will
he
look
hit
that
like
up.
2 home runs in his whole career.
And he
But he
bat flipped one of them
Dude, it was
to smithereens.
it was amazing.
That's absolutely incredible. Boys, how are we? You're parked to go to the tailgate a little bit later. Now,
yeah.
do you guys come to the CWS every year? What's kind of your routine? Is this something
Yeah.
that you guys often enjoy? Because you guys are both around. You live around Omaha, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been coming to the College World Series since I was a little kid.
Attaboy.
I always tell the story. My best friend, his mom, growing up, she did concessions at Rosenblatt,
Okay.
and so we used to go sneak in with her. We used to sneak into the stadium with her when she was going to work.
Yeah.
And then when they opened the GA floodgates for Rosenblatt, which
Sure.
I'm sure you've never been.
I've never
But
experienced
it
it.
used to be just like a free for all to go get your seat.
Yeah.
And we would come from the inside of the concession stands and run to the front row
What a
of the
good
GA.
time. That's
It was,
awesome.
It was amazing.
Can't beat that as a kid. Now, what do you guys think of, like, because some people are like, oh, you're from Omaha, you don't go to the CWS, but you boys do. What do you
Oh,
think about people who say that? And you don't agree with that, really?
They're crazy.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is such a great event.
This is amazing. Like, you walk around here in the baseball village and, you got the baseball jerseys, the new look, right? They're trying to appeal to the kids.
Dude.
You got the, like, ice cream cone
If I
sprinkles.
told my mom I needed a sliding mitt in 7U baseball, I think she would have slapped me across the face. She's like, what? You don't even get on base. But no, this is incredible. OBV is absolutely awesome. Are you going to the game? You guys going to go to a game?
We are not going to the game. We're
Yeah,
going to
okay.
go to a tailgate,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we might
51 March.
run into a few NBNR listeners maybe, and
Yeah.
hook up with them. And
More than a few. I mean, you guys have one of the best grassroots followings I've seen. I mean, you guys have done incredible work when it comes to your
thank you.
basketball coverage. You had Sam Hoiberg on the show the other
We
day. What a
did.
great guy. Sam's always a fun dude to talk to. Had a phenomenal interview with him. You guys have been killing it too with football coverage. I got to ask you both.
Okay.
What are you more excited for this year? Are you more excited for Nebraska football or more excited for Nebraska basketball?
Why did I know that was coming?
And here's the follow-up. When you answer correctly, have you ever been more excited for Nebraska football or Nebraska basketball as opposed to football in your entire life? So I will give you the floor.
Jared, you want to start?
Well, listen, let's just be real. Let's just be real, okay? It's Nebraska football. It's all, listen, I'm preaching to the choir here. The state is run on football. A lot of the programs at the university, they run on the money that football makes,
They depend on
regardless,
it, yes.
regardless of how successful or not successful they are. I cannot remember a season that I didn't go into it a little excited. And look, it's June something.
Yeah.
You know,
You're starting
in
to
a
feel it.
month and a half, people are going to be freaking drooling for this. So I'm just meeting people where they're going to be in about a month and a half. I'm already there. Yeah, I think it's football.
Jared, never wrong, just early.
That's
is
right.
what you're saying.
That's correct.
Let me follow up question for you before we get to Mike's answer. Calandria, the Diego Pavia of Nebraska football, is that a step too far? Is that jumping the shark in your opinion?
Well,
Or is that a fair comparison?
listen. I'm a Diego Pavia hunk. I love me some
Really?
Pavia. I
He
do.
loves Pavia.
I do. I love the style that he plays with. I like that he's a. Can I say the ASS word on the show?
Oh, yeah, you definitely can. It's okay.
He's a red ass.
Yeah.
And I want that for my quarterback. I want a quarterback that other teams and maybe even some teammates not necessarily hate, but like, hey, this dude's a baller.
Yeah.
And Tommy Frazier had that reputation back in the day where he's a red ass and he's
Yeah.
going to demand a lot from you.
Yeah.
But is he going to be as good? No. Another quarterback that I like to point to, and it's really convenient that we've got this guy's our O-line coach. I need me a Haynes King kind of guy too.
Yeah.
So it's Haynes King, it's Diego Pavia. That's the kind of quarterback that I want.
You
And
can
so,
be a red ass and you can be hard on guys if you're good at football.
Yes.
Like if you are a great player and you're it's going to be easier for you to communicate. If you're bad and you're getting on people be like, dude, you got to worry about you before you worry about me. So I think you're spot on, Jared. If Calandria can be that way and those guys can be that way, can perform that way, I think you're going to have a good culture set. Jared and Mike of No Block, No Rock. Mike, what are you more excited for, basketball or football? For Nebraska this season?
This is a very tough
I got a feeling I know we were going to go here. Just say it.
You're
want to
pulling
say it.
on my heartstrings. I'm going to go with basketball.
Yeah.
You know why I'm going to go with basketball? Because we just had the most magical run and experience we've ever had. Jared and I and Connor and Sam Hahn, former Husker offensive lineman, we all went down to Oklahoma City and had the time of our lives. I've never jumped into a 6'7" grown man's arms until I watched that shot against Vanderbilt not go in.
Yeah.
very comforting, by the way.
And you know what? And maybe it's recency bias. We just had Sam Hoiberg on the podcast this week.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I cannot describe what this season was like.
Yeah.
And having season tickets and going to every game, like it was a place you had to be.
Yeah.
And this team was so special. I'm excited to see what's next with Fred Hoiberg. Like, can he take the next step?
Yeah.
Like make him do a Sweet 16. We didn't sign up for that last year and it
No.
happened. So I'd be a sucker to say that I'm not excited for football season 2.
People were hoping that they would be a bubble team heading into next year.
Yeah.
And they were a favorite in a Sweet 16
Yes.
game. That's absolutely insane. Mike Delaware of No Block, No Rock. Jared, what's your last name? I don't even know your last
Hall, Hall.
name. God, what a basic name.
Yes.
What a great,
For a basic
strong-
man.
I'm a big keep it simple guy.
Well, it's a great broadcasting name. Jared Hall and Mike Delaware of No Block, No Rock. All right, boys, do you have any predictions for the College World Series? You have a team that you're rooting for? Because both you guys are Nebraska guys, but you
Yeah.
always got to latch on
All
to
right.
somebody at the CWS. You got to pick your team. Are you going to go with the crowd? Are you going to be an Omaneer? Are you going to go with, I want to root for the team that's going to win? Are you going to be an Oma dog? Or are you going to go for the Cinderella? Are you going to be an Oma Trojan? I don't know. If
Oma Trojan, I think, is the route to go, and this is why.
Okay.
Okay, say it.
Let's
Mike.
go.
Let's go back to Nebraska basketball. Right.
All right.
They had their
Ooh.
magical run, and you know what? We had to shut them down. And
Yeah, you
now
did.
this is my opportunity to give grace back to the University of Troy.
A little reconciliation from Mike
Exactly.
Delaware to
Exactly.
Troy. I absolutely love
so
it.
go Troy Trojans. You know,
Yes.
I'm always a sucker for the Cinderella story,
Yeah,
and
me too.
that's the thing about coming to the College World Series every year is
I believe
you
Murray-
find the underdog.
Murray State last year, they were 2 in the queue, right? They were done. It'd be nice
Yeah.
to see one of those underdogs
Yeah.
maybe advance a little bit
Yes.
this year. Jared?
Allow me to retort. Because if a team like Troy wins it all, and you had Coastal back in 16 and Fresno State back in the day that won it, it would just kind of further make me more frustrated that, dang, Troy can come in and win it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a brace ball, we can talk about expectations, what's reasonable for them. But I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit. It's not because McAfee's here. That's cool. He's a nice guy from what I hear.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an Omaneer.
Okay. He an Omaneer.
They have a very good fan base. That being said, we are going to hear Country Roads too much. I'm going to get sick of it. I already know that.
I don't know if you could get sick of that song.
That's pretty.
That
fun
is
song.
such a
He's not a country music
dude.
guy,
That's
though.
a fire song.
I've heard it 4 times already this morning.
Yeah.
So it's it's cool. It's cool. But I'm going for them.
What?
It's the low-hanging fruit pick.
It
but
is.
I am, like I said, keep it simple guy. The storyline's right there. They've never done it. And McAfee's here. Cool. They have a cool song, cool fan base. I like it.
If you ever want the low-hanging fruit of a good listen is No Block and No Rock when it comes to Nebraska sports. You guys are absolutely incredible. Everything you guys do. I'm such a fan of your product, Jared.
Thank you, sir.
So much. Mike
Thank you,
Delaware,
Matt.
you guys are the best.
Yeah.
I've had the honor of being on the show
Honor.
before. We will look to see if we can get that going again soon.
Oh,
so thank you
absolutely.
guys so much for joining.
Thanks for having
We'll
us.
see you around here. Maybe grab a beer or two on the Omaneers.
Of course.
All righty. We want to remind you that this is an incredibly special event. Omaha Baseball Village, a special edition of Middays with Matt. The 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. This summer, pick up a Coca-Cola and drink at America's 250th birthday. And 1620 The Zone is joined today and powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. I believe we're going to be talking to some of our friends at Island Noodles here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Very excited to do that here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster here in the Omaha Baseball Village for a special edition of Middays with Matt at the OBV, which is powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours and children's Nebraska. And hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. We have another interview, a very special interview here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We are joined by the Island Noodles crew. Anna and Hadley, guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
How are you? It's officially summer, guys.
Oh, I
Officially
know.
Summer. We're here at the College World Series.
Yep.
Now, you guys are located on the 12th and Cass entrance over there at the Omaha Baseball Village. This is your first time, guys, here, Island Noodles at the OBV, right?
Yep, it's our first time.
How excited are you guys being here?
So excited. Everyone's been super nice right when they walk in, and we're just here to have a blast.
Well, I was telling you, you guys have brought us noodles here. We're going to have a couple. Now, I didn't want to shove it down my face when you came on the interview. That'd be a bad look. But from what I tasted, absolutely awesome stuff. Now, Hadley, you were telling me there's not an official restaurant location, right? But there's a bunch of different places that you can go ahead and get Island Noodles at, right?
Yes, we're like all throughout the country, and there's different owners for each state. So we're located in Nebraska, Colorado, and Arizona.
Awesome.
And so we do lots of festivals and concerts and fairs and just fun events like this.
Yeah, and so you're from Kearney. Now, you were telling me this is the first College World Series you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Are you going to get into a game or not? Do we know
I
yet?
don't think so. I'm just
Okay.
here to work.
All right. Good for you. Now, Anna, have you been to a College World? You're from North Dakota. You're not from
Yeah.
Nebraska, but have you been to a CWS before?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
Nope.
this is great. This is
Yep.
going to be a ton of fun for you guys. So, what do you think is the best thing you got on your menu for Island Noodles?
Okay, well, really, all we have is the noodles
Okay.
and teriyaki chicken. So you
Okay.
can get it vegan or you can get it with the noodles.
All right.
I recommend, or with the chicken, I recommend the chicken.
Yeah.
So good.
That's great. Now, I have to ask, are you selling any of the Island Noodle shirts that you guys are wearing right now? Because you have a great slogan. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the slogan on the back of your shirt, but are you selling any shirts as well? Josh has got to take a look. It says, I'll just say it. It says, no. It says Island Noodles Company, and on the back, because you guys sell noodles, it
Yep.
said send nudes,
Yep.
which is very funny. As Josh Hodson is enjoying some Island Noodles. So, you guys, so you'll be here. You'll be are you going to be here the entire time? at the College World
Yes,
Series?
we're here for
Okay,
10
great.
days.
All right, it'll be a ton of fun. Do you have anything you need to mark off your list, you guys personally, that you got to hit here at the Omaha Baseball Village? Have you done any walking around yet?
Not
Have you
yet.
have any? Okay. Well, you said you're just here to work. I don't know how much walking around you guys are going to be doing. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Island Noodles on the 12th and Cass entrance. Thank you so much for bringing us food as well. We can't wait to
Yes.
shout down on that. Thank you. Anna Hadley, thank you so much.
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
us.
As we'll bring Mike Schaefer back here in a little bit. We are about an hour away, a little bit under an hour away. Do you guys have a prediction for the College World Series? You guys have a team that you're going to predict to go all the way?
I don't. I'm
Okay.
going to be honest.
Did you guys have, did you go to college? I'm sorry. Do you have a university, do you have a university you guys went to? Where'd
We're
you guys
from Lincoln, so we
Oh,
go
okay.
to the University of Nebraska.
go? Okay, same.
Yeah.
Go Huskers. Did you
Yeah.
go to the Lincoln Regional at all? Did I? No.
No.
Yeah, neither did I. I don't think I wanted to be there either. But anyway, we are about an hour away from first pitch between West Virginia and the Troy Trojans. We've seen a lot of West Virginia fans out and about here. We see a couple of Troy fans as well. It's going to be a very interesting matchup to see Troy, one of the hottest hitting teams in the country heading into this one. They were a 3 seed in their regional before they made it out of there. West Virginia, actually the last seeded regional before they went ahead and got out of there, went to the Super Regional, got a good draw there, and now they're here at the College World Series. The Omaneers taking over. Currently, right, have you guys gotten are you going to get any Jell-O shots at Rocco's or anything like that?
Oh,
Or
we
the
hope
Jell-O
so.
shot challenge?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, no, that'd be a great time. Right now, Ole Miss, they had 1,000 Jell-O shots get bought at the beginning.
Holy cow.
I don't know how many of them were drank of the Jell-O shots, so I don't know if it should count if you get 1,000 Jell-O shots and not drink them, but the West Virginia Mountaineers also doing a phenomenal job. Again, trying to run it up. Definitely going to be a 2-horse race between Ole Miss and West Virginia. So we're about an hour away here from first pitch between West Virginia and Troy. We're going to send it up to John Bishop, and Connor Happer will be in the booth with our very own Josh Peterson will be on the sidelines giving us some great reports. We want to let you know to come by the zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some free hash hole vouchers from Early Bird Brunch, not your everyday brunch every day. And 1620, the zone's hydration sponsor. Nothing says Happy birthday, America. Like an ice cold Coca-Cola this summer. Pick up a Coca-Cola and drink an America's 250th birthday. Mike Schaefer and Matt McMaster will be back to talk a little bit more sports here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Middays with Matt live here from the Omaha Baseball Village. The sun is out. The wind is just perfect. It's a nice little kiss of wind here at the Omaha Baseball Village. The Ferris wheel is not wheeling right now. It's not going, but it's out there. It's a beautiful day. It's the start of summer here in Omaha. The College World Series Game 1. We will bring you up till 12:40 here on Middays with Matt before we hand it over to John Bishop and Connor Happer in the booth as West Virginia takes on the Troy Trojans. This special edition of Middays with Matt at the Omaha Baseball Village is powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason. Yours and by Children's Nebraska. And we want to remind you to save the date for Friday night live at the Mat. Friday, June 19th. Pet Rock plays live at the OBV for the first time. Grab your friends and get ready to party. This is an all-ages show, and we want to see you at the Mat next Friday. We began the show, Mike Schaefer, before you were here. Did you go to a CVS or Walgreens?
Normally a CVS. I ended up at a Walgreens.
We were debating, are you a CVS guy or a Walgreens guy?
It'd normally be CVS. The problem here was, and you experienced this because you spend more time on Dodge in that area than I do.
Oh, my God.
The whole can't turn left thing.
It's the worst. Can I just say this?
Someone who doesn't know like exactly where I'm going or what I'm doing, and it's like I'm just looking for pharmacies, and there's a CVS, but it's on the left, and then I can't turn left, and then there's lanes of traffic, and you got to keep going. Like you can't just slow down and work your way around it.
It is turning left, and here's the problem too, because I'm a guy where I travel west in the morning and east later in the day, and I feel like when I travel west, I pass by all the lunch spots, okay? And when I travel, and I don't need lunch at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? None of those spots are open.
Generally not. No.
And when I travel east back home later in the day at like 2 o'clock, it's all the breakfast spots. I'm not trying to eat breakfast at 2 o'clock. If we could flip Dodge, like if we could just flip-flop, it would be a much better street for me.
What breakfast spots are on your right?
There is on my right, there's no breakfast spots when I'm going in the morning. You're saying coming back?
Coming back, yeah.
There's a Brugger's Bagels.
Okay.
And there is a McDonald's.
Well, then that's not a breakfast spot.
Yes, it is. When I'm going at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm saying that they sell things
spot.
that aren't just breakfasts there.
But at 9 a.m., they only serve breakfast. That's a breakfast spot. McDonald's is a breakfast spot until 10:30.
Sure. Okay. But on your way east, when you were going home,
when I'm going
you could
home,
stop at McDonald's and not get breakfast.
That is true, but I don't want it. I really don't eat. Can I be real with you?
What? I was trying to think of what I was missing in that area.
No, it was really just the bagels and the McDonald's. And then also, though, the Casey's gas station is on the left when I'm going to work. I would love to stop at the gas station, but I would have to do this weird and go into the Jimmy John's parking lot and pull back out. It's a whole pain in the butt. So I understand what you're saying.
And Jimmy John's is on your right, and you can't get it.
And it's not open yet. But
Dude,
have you had the Jimmy John's toasted sandwiches? Pretty good. Anyway,
they're not bad.
We started this show talking about recruiting before you were here, talking about Nebraska and their execution of recruiting. Had, I believe, 6 guys who visited last weekend who ended up committing. We do have some news. This 4-star wide receiver prospect is somebody we did bring up at the beginning of the show. And for all intents and purposes, at least from just my reading, I thought this was a locked-up deal. I thought this was kind of done. Matthew Gregory, the 4-star wide receiver from Pennsylvania, has announced his commitment. He is going to Bob Chesney and the UCLA Bruins. This was something, especially when Caden Howard decommitted from Nebraska and committed to Georgia Tech after his visit. I thought, okay, hey, this is an indication that, they're going to get, and we talked to Tim Verghese about this, a more well-rounded receiver in Matthew Gregory, a more blue-chip wide receiver in Matthew Gregory. They've done okay in the wide receiver department in this 2027 recruiting class. I'm excited to see what Millard South wide receiver Tay Ellis does this season. But this is quite the blow for Nebraska recruiting. I mean, this is a guy that they were really trending in the right direction for. It was going to be a massive pickup, and they fall short.
Well, you combine it with Khalil Taylor isn't going to end up making an official visit to Nebraska. Ahmad Hudson was in this last weekend, but it's going to be a real battle to try to flip him later in the cycle. That's the goal. So it's fascinating. You have this 5-star quarterback who's now the number 8 player in the country, and you haven't really been able to land the quality of pass catcher that you want to go along with it. Now, the nice thing is, Trey Taylor, you're hoping to have here for several years. You can try to get some guys in the 28 class. They have plenty of receivers in the cupboard at the moment that I'm at least intrigued and excited about. But yeah, Gregory was supposed to be, the idea that you were going to try to go get a 4-star, a guy that potentially could be a
Pair 'em
do-everything
up.
wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, get the battery, right?
Right.
You have the great pitcher. You want to pair him up with a great catcher.
Sure.
You have the great quarterback commit. Pair him up with a great wide receiver commit. You're spot on. They are kind of missing that. You look at Nebraska's 2027 recruiting class, the 5-star quarterback. But after that, Torrey Pittman, well, he's probably going to play safety. You have a lot of guys who, in Bryce Williams, Corey Headley, right? Those are DBs. You have Timmy Aliyu and Umbadi and Jordan Agbanama. They're in the trenches.
Yeah, you got a lot of line
offense and
play. You got a
defense.
lot of defensive backs. You have one skill position player in Amir Brown, and then Tay Ellis, a wide receiver. I like you, am intrigued to see how it goes at Millard South. He's smaller, so I kind of want to see, if he can put some weight on. I'm sure he's already sort of focused on a college lifting program and all of that to try to do it even during his high school career. But yeah, they are sort of missing that one big target that they'd like to, I'm sure, pull into this class. I don't know who that's going to be. Justin Lindsay's in this weekend. He's wide receiver, that kind of a camp offer guy. I saw him in camp last year. He's from the Kansas City area. There was a guy named, I believe his name is Isaiah Alvarez, that they were hoping to have.
Alvarez, that's a guy that Tim's talked about a lot.
But
it seems like that's trending in the wrong direction.
And so it is just kind of interesting. You do the one side of it that is arguably the harder piece of it. You go get the quarterback, and you think the pass catchers would follow, and it just hasn't quite worked that way for Nebraska. But if there's an area where really it's not a huge concern, to me, it would be if you miss out on some wide receivers at the high school level. The portal is flooded with wide receivers.
That, and you bring up a great point. I'm with you. I like not only just the 3 guys that they're going to throw the ball a lot to this year in Barney, Gilmore, and Hunter, right? But at the same time, Keelan Smith is a guy that I've heard a lot about. Quinn Clark continues to get people's
Cortez
praises.
Mills.
That's the one thing about Mills. I saw him pop against Cincinnati, and you saw him take some other spot snaps, and you go, that's what it looks like. Now, if you looked at his PFF grades, you could see that almost all of his snaps were on passing downs, which means that they're not fully comfortable yet, or at least that communicates to you they're not fully comfortable yet with him as a blocker, which is something that's very important.
It could be that. It could also just be we've got some design plays where he thinks he fits well in the passing situation.
I mean,
the playbook might be a bit of a struggle still for a guy in his first year.
It's a great point.
So that's always a thing. Sometimes it's hey, here's about 15 plays that you're practicing really well. We're going to try to get you your feet wet doing this.
Yeah, but the point is that when he's been out there and they've had those plays for him, they set him up. He's looked great. So you're right. I am a little interested, though, in the fact that if you were to point at the Matt Rule, let's just look macro recruiting now, all the way from 2023 to now, and you know this better than anybody. They've killed it when it comes to quarterbacks. Like, quarterbacks has been if you were picking out what is the number one strength of Nebraska football under Matt Rule, I think the ability to recruit quarterbacks should be up there with the fact that they've now gotten 2 5-stars in Dylan and Trey. And then on top of that, the 4-star in TJ Lateef, Danny Kalen, another Elite 11 quarterback, along with the fact that Anthony Calandria was a very touted, somebody other people were going after in the
Jeff Sims, of course.
Yeah, we can ignore that one. But anyway, I would say the other strength in recruiting, though, has been the wide receiver position. That has been a position that they've been able to consistently hone in on both high school and in the transfer portal. For them to, I like Tay, but for the other guys that they're trying to go after, Alvarez, Gregory, just to name a few, the fact they've struck out on those, kind of surprising to me. I wonder, do those recruits look at the wide receiver room that Nebraska has now and says, maybe it's too crowded? Do you think maybe Nebraska's saying, hey, we already kind of have a lot of money lined up in this room. We're not willing to get into a bidding war, even though
I don't think it's that.
Okay, well, I'm throwing out questions. What do you think it might be?
I'm a little underwhelmed through 2 recruiting cycles of Tykeal Shorts in terms of high-end guys.
That's a great take.
I like Larry Miles a lot. I think Larry Miles is one of those guys that we didn't even get to that's deep on that depth chart. I think he's going to end up having a play or 2 this year where people are like, okay, I'm interested in this guy down the line. This isn't to say, and look, like, these things take time in some situations. it can still absolutely click with Dykeel Shorts and recruiting and all of it. It just hasn't to this point where it feels like they haven't been able to get the targets that are at the high end of their board to show up for official visits. They're able to get these guys to come in for paid unofficials or for the, Battle of the Boneyard or for all of these different things. I'm still kind of waiting to see it in terms of high-end wide receivers, Dykeel Shorts. Like, I've never heard a recruit really go to bat for him as this great recruiter, as this guy. This is not to launch into one of my now trademark Dana Holgerson diatribes. This is the one
Joey,
guy,
get the gong ready. Joey, do we have the gong? Okay,
the
here
one
we go,
guy
Schaefer.
that he wanted to change out on staff. And for as much as people made fun of Garrett McGuire for being all of 20-some years old, because that's what happens when you're given a job in I don't know if you know this.
I'm learning this for the first time.
But,
are you telling me that people hold against your young age, despite the fact that they haven't really let you do?
All the receivers that people like, they were recruited by Garrett McGuire.
There you go.
So, Garrett McGuire can recruit. I know he could recruit. I know Nebraska would have a greater chance with some of these guys just because he's that sort of guy. That's the way he's wired. Does that mean that he'd have been the right wide receiver coach for this version of Nebraska? I have no idea.
Yeah.
And with Dykeel Shorts, I still think that remains to be seen. And this isn't, again, I'm very open-minded that this can absolutely still go well. I just was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed with the production from the actual position. Now, is that his fault? Is it Dana Holgerson's fault? Is it Dylan Raiola's fault? Is it, whatever? It takes there's a lot that goes into that. But from a just sheer recruiting standpoint, it's been underwhelming for 2 cycles in a row.
So I love talking to you about this stuff because this is just, you're so great at it, and this was your life for a long time. For me, when I talk to people in your circles about Dykeel Shorts, I hear nothing but great things. I hear nothing but top things. But for a while, I thought that I never really heard this many nice things about a guy where it's like, what has he fully done yet? Like, what has he fully accomplished, right? I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like, the wide receiver room, I think we were expecting more from it last year than we got, okay?
No, they had 4 games where you have a backup quarterback.
There you go.
Whatever,
And were they bad? No. Yeah. Okay? But we entered the season saying, this is going to be a strength.
They just whelmed. They didn't overwhelm and they didn't underwhelm. They whelmed.
And then now we get into the high school recruiting cycle where it's like, you're right. What is kind of you're licking your lips looking at the high school being like, oh my God, this is the dude. I think the 2 that I would say in terms of high school prospects you brought in that I'm really excited to see are Quinn Clark and Cortez Mills. Ja'Cory would be there too. Ja'Cory's been great out of high school, right? But Quinn Clark and Mills, you're right. They're brought in by Garrett McGuire. They're brought in by a different guy. So I think it's very interesting. I was reading Tim's article from this morning about the continuity on the staff. And there are people who believe there hasn't been this much continuity with Matt Rule's staff than in the past. And I think that was it's a very interesting comment because there's been some turmoil for sure in terms of, guys who've come in and come out. But we're kind of getting to, lack of a better term, some nut cutting time when it comes to these assistant coaches trying to prove, okay, hey, how big of an effect do you have, whether it be recruiting or in coaching? I mean, certainly, and I think we're reaching that point with Shorts to what you just said.
It's Shorts, it's Holgerson, it's the offensive staff that isn't the guys that just showed up.
Yeah.
If we're calling a spade, this offense has sucked for 3 years.
I got to think about that. 2023 was terrible.
Right.
2024,
a lot of the people,
I won't go as sucked, but let's say underwhelming. Underwhelming.
No, tell me how it hasn't sucked.
There have definitely been. I mean, look,
they averaged 22 points a game against Power 4 opponents.
But I'm not arguing whether or not they've been bad. I'm just saying I don't want. When you say suck, I think the worst. I don't know if they've been the worst. I think that they've been underwhelming and they haven't been very good.
I think
it's neither here nor there. Yeah. Whether what the phrasing we use. You're right. What I thought the offense would be under Dana Holgerson absolutely has not been that. And there were way too many times last season, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, where I'm sitting back and I'm watching the game, in particular Minnesota and Michigan State, and I'm screaming, what are we doing? What are you doing? What are you calling? And especially when I say the MSU and Minnesota games, in MSU, you got hail force winds coming right at you, and you're launching the ball all over
Sure.
the place, and you're wondering, oh, why aren't we efficient? Well, you're thrown into massive winds. You got Emmett Johnson, who looked great that game, who they only handed the ball to 12 times. That Minnesota game, how many times were we saying give the ball to 21,
Right.
and they never did it? So all that to say, I think that there will be a lot of conversations that we will have about Holgerson and the surrounding staff until we get to August. But if I'm being frank, I'm fine with having those combos because there's a lot to pick
Yeah,
off.
a lot of it for me, when I say that they sucked, it's because they invested significantly more resources into their offense and got almost no extra production out of it. And
couldn't agree
so,
more.
like, when people, and this is where I tend to be at odds where other people look at last season and they get really hyper focused on John Butler and the defensive line and all of that. Nebraska didn't, think of how much money they spent on receivers last year to have nobody have like 8
Bingo.
touchdowns.
Bingo.
How much money was spent at quarterback
There
to
you
have
go.
a
For him to
sort of
overthrow all the other touchdowns they
like
could have had.
average passing offense? How much money was ultimately spent on an offensive line that didn't really accomplish a whole lot?
And the funny thing is, Mike, is that
You didn't spend that much at running back, and you ended up with an
that's
All-American.
exactly what I was about to say. The one area
No,
they don't spend
they
money is
paid
where
to
they
keep
ended
them.
up being. Yeah,
But they didn't pay like some extreme
I
market
mean,
rate.
no, and they are very strict on their market rates, and they are treating college.
running back.
They're
specifically.
but they're treating the college football market like it's the NFL market, which it will be very interesting to see how that pans
I don't
out.
think they're alone in that regard.
No, but sometimes I would like for them to be desperate. That's just a personal take.
Sure.
of mine. All right, let's hit a break here. Let's make some more predictions, all right? We're
Okay.
going to have some
All right.
fun. Let's make a couple more predictions in terms of what will happen in the next calendar year. We're going to have to find out an award, or reward, rather, that we'll give out to the person who wins. Before we hit a break here, we want to remind you to come by the Omaha Baseball Village Zone booth for some free Hashel vouchers from Early Bird. Early Bird brunch, not your everyday brunch every day, Josh Adson. And the 1620 Zone hydration sponsor, nothing says more than happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola this summer. Pick up a Coca-Cola and drink for America's 250th birthday. All here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Middays with Matt live here from the Omaha Baseball Village, a special edition of Middays with Matt. We want to let you know to come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of the 1620 The Zone, celebrating 40 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and the Old Market area. Omaha 1620 The Zone is joined and powered by today the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. We will get a traffic and weather update from Mr. Josh Odson a little bit later here in this segment. Before we do that, we will go ahead and continue our predictions. We predicted who is going to win the 2026 World Series. Now, Mike Schaefer and I, who will be playing this game throughout our shows at the Omaha Baseball Village, will predict who will win the College Football Playoff National Championship. We will pick two teams, and then we will pick who will win the national championship. Would you like to go first, Mike Schaefer? Who will be
I can. I think I went first on the last one. Do you want to go first on this one?
I'll go first on this one. All right. It pains my heart to say this, but I truly do believe this, in part because they're bringing back basically everybody on the defense who mattered last season, and the fact that they probably have the guy that if I had to put money to win the Heisman Trophy, it would be this guy. I don't like them. I never have liked them. I never will like them. I'm going to pick Notre Dame to win the national championship in college football this year.
Where's Kenneth?
I think that this is the year for Marcus Freeman and his beautiful hairline and his incredible teeth and his phenomenal recruiting. Yes, they lost Kadarian Price. Yes, they lost Jeremiah Love. They also have a bunch of other blue-chip running backs behind them, ready to go, ready to run. They have a great quarterback. That offensive line, look, it's Notre Dame. They're going to have a great offensive line.
Who are they beating?
So they play BYU this year. They also play SMU this year. Oh, you're saying in the national championship. I'm sorry. Oregon.
Okay.
I think Dan Lanning gets to the hump, gets onto the hump, but he doesn't get
Careful.
over. He doesn't get over the hump. He just gets right in the hump. Right in the hump.
Okay.
But then cannot conquer it. But they get to the national championship game, they lose to Notre Dame. How about you, Mike Schaefer?
All right. Just want to clear a couple things up. I haven't touched my computer at all since this segment has started, right?
You have not.
I typed in who my prediction was before this started.
Yes, you did.
I will now read it to you.
Oh, no.
I have the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame over Arch Manning in Texas.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, are we going to end up with the exact same prediction?
Wow. Okay.
I think they're the
I'm gonna
clear
be
best team to go into the college football season.
Me too.
In Notre Dame. Now, was talking with Severe this morning. He doesn't believe in CJ Carr. I don't think he really believes in Notre Dame. Though it's very obvious to me they're going to be a college football playoff team. That schedule relatively light. Very good chance that they're 10-2 or 11-1.
Yeah.
Or even better if they beat Miami, which I think that they will. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're also sort of like unfinished business-esque.
Sure.
Because of not getting invited into the college football playoff, where I think they would have wrecked some teams, depending on what their draw was. The one team I'm not sure that they would have wrecked would be Indiana. I think I would have taken Notre Dame against every other team in the college football playoff field, straight up, last year. I had that conversation with Josh Peterson before it started.
I cannot disagree with you. And the college football playoff committee was saved by Miami getting the national championship. That saved them because they were the last team. They got in over Notre Dame because they beat Texas.
I'd argue they were more saved by the fact that Alabama beat Oklahoma. Because if that game is like let's say a 24-3, just like they beat them the regular season a year before, Oklahoma beats Alabama and Alabama looks like they don't belong.
Yeah.
That would have looked a lot worse.
Well, I mean, in that beginning of the Oklahoma-Alabama game,
both of those teams should not have been in over Notre Dame.
Well, I thought Notre Dame looked like the best damn team in the country for the last 4 weeks.
Problem is you lose your first two games and then you win 10 straight and you don't beat anybody of major significance in that run. It's harder.
I think, though, that they needed to communicate to some of these teams you need to have a harder schedule, okay? And Notre Dame got that message loud and clear. Everybody else got that message loud and clear. Do I believe that should have happened? Do I believe that Notre Dame should not have been in the college football playoff? Absolutely not. I thought that you look at the best 12 teams in America, they were by far, bar none, one of them. They deserved to be there. they bring back 9 of their top 10 tacklers on defense. They have an incredibly talented front end and back end. They've added some effective guys on the D line from Power 5 conferences in the portal. And, they have, I'm blanking on his name here. Let me get my ESPN college football preview magazine because
God loves
running
a hard
back,
copy.
I do love a hard copy. Their running back this season is going to be Anais Williams, who averaged 9.3 yards per carry last year. He's
Pretty
next
sure that's
in
a
line.
St. Louis product.
It might be, and I do not know, but that is I'm telling you, like, you look at Notre Dame's recruiting cycles year in and year out, like, people might freak out. Oh, you don't got Jeremiah Love. Oh, you don't got Jadarian Price. You lost 2 first-round running backs. Guys, they're going to be okay. Like, they have been great at recruiting the running back position. They have a ton of talent there. And CJ Carr, he's a dude. He's a guy. And he, to me, the Arch Manning stuff, I think Arch Manning is going to be a really, really good quarterback. I think he'll be drafted in the first round. I understand he got better as the season progressed. Obviously there's some mechanics that he's got to clean up, heading into this season. If you were to tell me, gun to my head, Matt, Carr or Manning to have a better year, I would take Carr. I would go with CJ Carr. I just liked more of what I saw throughout the entirety of the year from CJ Carr compared to Arch Manning. So I love this Notre Dame team. I think Oregon, they've been building toward this. Like, they've had these back-to-back great recruiting cycles and transfer portal cycles. They were a young team last year. That's what people don't get. They were a very young team last year. They bring back a lot of those guys. And,
he's wearing an Irish revenge tour right here.
Hell yeah. We picked them to win the national championship. College football playoff, national champion. Notre Dame, hell yeah. But Oregon, this is their time. Like, this is their time to get.
It's been Oregon's time.
But this is it. Like, to me, you got to have the Ryan Day combo before you have the James Franklin combo, right?
Sure.
So
Bleeper get off the pot for them.
For Dan Lanning, he's like a bad season away or an underwhelming season away from having the Dan Lanning combo. And then he's another one away from having the Franklin combo.
People get kind of mad at me when I say that about Oregon, where it's like they have had every opportunity to take that next step and they haven't done it. And it's like, okay, well, how mad can you be when they lose to Ohio State and Indiana and they go?
Well,
win
that's the
title?
same combo we had.
But it's like, if you want to be part of that conversation, you have to go win those games.
Isn't this the same combo we had with Ohio State, though? Before Ohio
That's
State
what I would say.
won their national championship,
Right.
we go, well, they did lose to Michigan and they did lose to Georgia, and those ended up being the teams that won the national. They're right there. It's funny. I've had, a quick little comment with our ghost dog as well. The other team that he would add in with Oregon, who's underwhelmed, would be Texas, the team that you picked. So it's funny. Sark and Lanning.
Built-in interim right on that staff now.
Yeah. Who's the name again?
Their DC.
Who's their Texas DC? I forget.
Is it DC or OC?
Who's the DC at Texas?
They hired a guy. I
don't
know
know.
who Josh is talking. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I've mentioned it before.
Sark and Lanning, I think, are in very similar situations where it's like you said, bleeper get off the pot, right?
Real Muschamp.
Well, it's just, I don't know. Like, we did this with James Franklin where he had the bad season. He's got to be cast away forever. We did it with Ryan Day where, he can't beat Michigan. He's not that good of a coach. He's Urban Meyer's lackey. He's all of these different things.
Sure.
And he goes and wins a national championship. Meanwhile, like at Oregon, I understand that it's not the same as Ohio State. And yet they've amassed a ton of talent. He inherited a program after Mario Cristobal was there and put together some really good recruiting classes for him. Like, they have all of Phil Knight's money. It is time for Oregon to go forward.
Let's do some traffic and weather. Josh Odson, what do we got going around and around the park, and what will the weather be in the park?
Look, we don't have a lot of days like this at the College World Series.
It is gorgeous. Isn't it great weather, guys?
We're
It's
very
incredible.
hot. We're very sweaty. Let's take a look at the weather today from Sam McEwen's brother. We know him. We love him.
Marty, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
As I'm waiting for it to load on my phone here, a better producer would have been more prepared.
Don't worry.
Very nice weather for the opening day of the College World Series. There's a chance for a shower or thunderstorm in the morning tomorrow, and then again in the late afternoon and evening. The probability, though, 40%. Today, sunny skies, a nice breeze. Overall, a very nice day to kick off the College World Series. High of 85 tonight, a low of 65. Thunderstorm possible toward sunrise, so not going to get in the way of any baseball today. Your traffic here presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance at parkomaha.com. A lot of West Virginia fans in the crowd here walking around the village. A lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic as you head down Cumming, headed to all the places you can park in Lot D. Remember, not everyone is as smart and as handsome as you. They don't know the roads like you do. A lot of people could be from out of town. They don't know where they're going. Pack your patience, pack a little bit of grace, and watch out for pedestrians as you make your way into downtown. Traffic today presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance. You can book the spot from home and then mosey on in and park there at parkomaha.com, fellas.
Great job, Josh Otson. We want to remind you the special edition of Middays with Matt from the Omaha Baseball Village is powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. And we want to also remind you, come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. We had a tweet from our good friend David. He goes, those granola bars are goated at Sunbelt Bakery. So we've had plenty of people walk by our booth here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We're over by the Patch Cats booth. If you're wondering where we're at, we're nice and inside. The sun isn't bearing down too much on us, so come hang out and make sure to get a crunchy granola bar from Sunbelt Bakery. Let's hit our final break of this first edition of the Omaha Baseball Village show with a man with a parrot on his left shoulder. Absolutely incredible. Here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. This special edition of Middays with Matt at the Omaha Baseball Village is powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. We also want to remind you to come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. We are just 4 minutes away before we toss it over to John Bishop and Connor Happer in the Charles Schwab Field booth. Very excited to hear those two. I believe was the last time Connor Happer was on the call, it was a no-hitter, Josh Hodson? Was that the last time he was in the booth? Or did he do another? I think he might have done another game after that. But we have your lineups here for Troy versus West Virginia. Benjamin Stubbs will be the starting pitcher for the Trojans. And for West Virginia, no surprise, their ace, Cole Chanson, who's had an incredible tournament for the Mountaineers, will take the mound in our very first game. 4 minutes away before we send you over to the booth with Bishop and Happer. But I'll say this is a very interesting styles make fights matchup. Mike Schaefer, you got Troy, who outside of Oklahoma, you would say is the hottest team in the country right now. Oklahoma definitely, I think, gets that title, but under them would be Troy, a 3 seed in their regional, makes their way here to Omaha. And then West Virginia, West Virginia, great team, hosted regionals. They may not be, quote unquote, as hot as Troy is heading into College World Series. But I'll say this, they're a great team. They're made for this ballpark. I mean, we talk about this field all the time, especially when the wind is blowing in. You know, it's hard to get the ball out of the park. West Virginia is a gap-to-gap hitting baseball team. They've stolen a ton of bases this season. This is going to be very interesting. Can their power get it out of the ballpark? I believe Happer said the wind would be blowing out for this game, so definitely advantage Trojans if that's the case. But the Mountaineers, they're going to have the Omaneers all around Charles Schwab Field rooting for them. Who do you like, Mike Schaefer? And do you think that we'll make our predictions here for the College World Series right after you answer this, but who do you like in this first game?
Give me West Virginia in this first game. I don't know if they haven't won as many games as Troy in the same time span because Troy won the Sun Belt and had to, go through doing that. What West Virginia did is they swept Kansas in like the last series of the regular season.
Yeah.
They were fine in the Big 12 tournament, not great. They had a bad start to their regional, and then they went through and they took those last 2 against Kentucky, and then they just murder-balled Cal Poly.
All right, we got 90 seconds before we get out of here. I'll take West Virginia, too. I just think that their style of play is going to match up in this game. But who do you have to win it all, Mike Schaefer?
Boring pick, Georgia. Georgia over West Virginia.
All right. I'm going to pick Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins the College World Series. Top to bottom, their pitching, their power, going to take them to the top. All right. Hey, we want to let you know that the 1620 The Zone is joined today and powered by the Sonora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. And don't forget to come by the Zone booth inside Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating 40 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha area. That's been a special edition of Middays with Matt here at the Omaha Baseball Village. We'll be here the entire College World Series, giving you great coverage on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. We'll send it to Happer and Bishop at Charles Schwab Field.